What's going on, everybody? Today I've got another tactic here for you guys. It is the 4-1-4-1 Yeti. Now, it's not a normal 4-1-4-1. It is an asymmetric 4-1-4-1. So it's going to be a very interesting tactic to go over. And I'm going to let you guys know this now. The clubs I tested with did not win the league, but they won multiple other trophies. Reason being why they didn't win the league is because the two teams that finished in first and second, for some reason, they were just on it for some reason with the new winter update through testing. Now, there are some tweaks you can do within the game to make this tactic perform better, but also I feel this is a tactic that needs a human touch to it. Like, the AI can do all it can, but definitely needs a human managerial aspect to it for it to reach the heights that it definitely can. But if you guys happen to enjoy today's video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is 100% free, so why not hit that sub button. Also, if you guys would like to give this tactic a go, I'll be linking my Discord down below in the description, where you guys will be able to download the tactic from. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So, as we can see here, we decided to test within the Serie A. We tested with Napoli, Lazio, and Atalanta. They finished 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Tested this multiple different times. They would always finish in these spots. The highest anyone finished was 2nd, but AC Milan or Inter Milan were always winning the league. It was really annoying. They're really good now after the winter update, which surprises me because Napoli is also very, very good. But Napoli ended up doing a double by winning the Champions League and the Italian Cup. Atalanta were runners up in the Italian Cup, and then Lazio got to the semi-final in both not only the Italian Cup but also the Europa League. So, I mean, overall, a lot of success to be had. Like I said, I definitely think that there is a higher level that this tactic can reach, but it needs a human managerial aspect to reach that, because this is a very good tactic, as you guys will see within the match engine. It's a lot of fun to watch, and certain players, certain styles of players really perform well within this tactic. But let's see how the clubs did in the team and player overview. So, team overview wise, they finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th with the most goals in the league. AC Milan had the most, but they were joint with Lazio on 86. They were all in most shots, 4. All 3 were also in the most possession, 2 of them having 54%, and then Napoli had 53%. They were all in most dribbles made. Atalanta with the most in the league with 740. Napoli 665, Lazio 626. Atalanta and Napoli were in most clean sheets. Atalanta with 13, Napoli with 12. And then fews conceded. Atalanta and Napoli were both in there as well, conceding 43. Now, when it comes to the player overview side of things, this is where the clubs really started to shine. Ciro Immobile had 33 goals. Duvan Zapata with 24. Adamel Lookman, of all people, with 22. For assists, Luis Alberto with 15. Felipe Anderson with 10. Same with Matteo Politano, Jeremy Boga, and then Irving Chucky Lozano had 9. For most player of the match performances, Duvan Zapata had 7, as did Ciro Immobile, and Adamel Lookman had 6. Most key passes, Matteo Politano with 144, Jeremy Boga with 102, Luis Alberto at 97, and Toon Koopmeiners with 95. For passing percentage, Alessio Romagnoli and Jose Luis Palomino were both in there. Most dribbles made, Joachim Mela had 150 for Atalanta, and Jeremy Boga had 124 for Atalanta. Then clean sheet wise, you got Juan Musso with 13, Alex Murray with 11, and Ivan Providel also with 11. Then fewest conceded, Alex Murray allowed 41 and Juan Musso allowed 43. Now, looking at the clubs overall, Napoli had their scoring really spread out, because usually Victor Osimhen is dominating alone goal scoring wise, but that was not to be this time. He only had 25 goals and 43 appearances, but Vicha Kvaratskhelia had 16. Andre Frank Zambo and Gisa had 13, same with Matteo Politano. Giacomo Raspadori had 11, as did Piotr Zielinski. Then assist-wise, we've got Zielinski with 15, Politano with 14, Osimhen with 12, and Kvaratskhelia with 10. But as you guys can see here, everyone is contributing in any way that they can. So it's not like one person's doing all the assisting, one person's doing all the scoring. Everyone is contributing. Now looking at Lazio, Ciro Immobile had 48 goals. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic had 20, and then Luis Alberto and Mattia Zaccagni had 11 each, and Zaccagni is really, really good, surprisingly. He was very good with this tactic. Now, assist-wise, we got Luis Alberto with 22, Felipe Anderson with 16, Zaccagni with 14, then we got Milinkovic-Savic and Hisaj both with 10. And now, finally looking at Atalanta, we got Duvan Zapata with 31 goals, Adamel Lukman with 25, and then Adamel Lukman had 11, had 11 assists as well, and Jeremy Boga had 10. They're another side like Napoli where everything was kind of spread out. It was spread out for all three of the clubs, to be fair. It's just that Ciro Immobile scored a boatload of Lazio's goals, but they still had some contributors outside of him for sure. One thing that I can tell definitely hurt these sides and probably hurt the results a little bit was the injuries. A lot of these players, no matter how many times I tested, were getting a lot of injuries, which is unfortunate because that does affect the outcome of these seasons and these tests. But I mean, overall, a Champions League title, an Italian Cup title, you got a club getting a semi-final in the Europa League and the Italian Cup, and then the other one was the runner-up in the Italian Cup, and they all finished in the top 5. I'm very happy with this, and like I said, that it can hit that next level to be a consistently title-winning type tactic, but I definitely feel it needs a human touch or a 2.0 version, which I'm heavily leaning towards doing with this, because this tactic was a lot of fun to make. So here we are with the tactic, the 4-1-4-1 Yeti. Like I said, it is asymmetric and a very interesting tactic. It plays very, very interesting as well, but it is a lot of fun to watch and use. So it starts with a pressing forward on attack up top. Then we have an attacking midfielder on attack slightly to the left of the pressing forward. Then we got an inside forward on attack on that right wing. Then once we get to midfield, the left midfielder is inverted winger on support. We got an advanced playmaker on attack. Our defensive midfielder is a ball-winning midfielder on defend. Then we have a wing-back on attack on the left, wing-back on support on the right, 2 central defenders on defend, and a goalkeeper on defend. So, starting with the pressing forward on attack up top, all that they had was shoot more often. The attacking midfielder on attack had crosses aimed at the far post, run wide with the ball, shoot more often, roam from position, and move into channels. The inside forward on attack had crosses aimed at center and shoot more often. The inverted winger on support had take more risks and crosses aimed at the far post. The advanced playmaker on attack had crosses aimed at the far post and roam from position. The ball-winning midfielder on defend was left as is. Wing-back on attack has cross more often and crosses aimed at center. The wing-back on support also has cross more often and crosses aimed at center. Both central defenders on defend were left as is, and the goalkeeper on defend was also left as is. Now, this tactic is played with a positive mentality, but it can definitely be played with a balanced mentality as well, which may suit it for those lower league sides if you are wanting to use a tactic like this with a lower league side. Say you're in like Sky Bet League 1, League 2, those type of levels. This is definitely a tactic that you would go balanced with at that level. I don't think that you would have the ability to go positive or attacking, but if you are the likes of a Napoli, Inter Milan, AC Milan, definitely feel free to go positive or attacking with this tactic, especially if you're trying to nick a goal late. Now, when we're in possession, we have fairly narrow attacking width, pass into space, overlap on the left and the right and play out from the defense, work the ball into the box, use low crosses in the final third, and have a slightly higher tempo. When we're in transition, we counter, distribute quickly to the defense, aka the fullbacks and the center backs. Once we're out of possession, we have a more often trigger press, aka more often pressing intensity. We use a mid-block standard defensive line, and we trap to the outside. Now, I did mention earlier that there are some tweaks that can definitely help you get some more wins, get some more points on the board, and here are the tweaks that you can do. You were all probably thinking, okay, these are going to be tactical changes, right? Wrong. They're going to be opposition instructions that can really, really help you lock down your opponent, especially with how your team is lined up. It's going to be creating chaos. That is essentially what an asymmetric tactic does, is create chaos. And what you are going to want to do is, if the opponent has right backs and left backs, or wing backs further pushed up, say it's a 5 in the back, or you're playing a 4 in the back, you are going to want to trigger press them and show them onto their weaker foot. If you are pressing them, it causes them to panic. If you're showing them onto the weaker foot, which a majority of them, unless they're Joe Scally or Joshua Kimmich, a majority of them are one-footed. So you will definitely cause them to panic. You will be able to win that ball easier, and you will be able to secure more points. Another thing you can do is apply that same thing to the wingers. So if they're playing a 4-3-3, a 3-4-3, 5-2-3, whatever it may be, make sure that you are pressing and showing onto the weak foot the wingers, wingbacks, fullbacks, whatever they may be, the players that are out wide, because it will force the teams to play through the middle and you will have the middle locked down. But if you are trying to trap them to the outside and it works, and you are also implementing the trigger press and showing onto the weaker foot, they aren't going to be able to do anything against you, especially when you're creating chaos with this 4-1-4-1 Yeti. But now that we have gone over that, let's see how it performs within the match engine. Alrighty, so as we can see in the match engine, very, very solid tactic, and you can clearly see it creates chaos. I mean, Barcelona didn't even know how to distribute the ball properly against Napoli in the Champions League final because we're kind of set up everywhere, and if you're able to lock down your opponent and even implement those opposition instructions like I had mentioned, you are going to be doing nothing but creating chaos and making sure that at the end of the day, you're the one that ends up with the 3 points. So if you guys happen to enjoy today's video, please feel free, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is 100% free, so why not hit that sub button. Also, once again, if you guys would like to give this tactic a go, there will be a link down below in the description to my Discord where you guys will be able to download the tactic from. But with all that being said, until next time, have a good one. Bye-bye.